destination.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Coming up, traveling around the world, what you need to consider before you pack your bag.
An educator who continues to affect children even after retirement.
And the latest effort to diagnose diabetes in its earliest stages. All this and more is next on Time for Living. Welcome to Time for Living. I'm Howard Niels.
And I'm Janet Jagalian. We've often talked about travel and vacationing on Time for Living because as we get older, we have more time to enjoy leisure travel.
Now, with that in mind, today we're going to talk to a travel expert to find out how you can make sure you ask the right questions, receive accurate information, choose appropriate vacation spots, as well as transportation best suited to your needs and desires.
Of course, we have our weekly feature segments with yet another special person receiving our second effort salute. And you'll get expert advice from financial expert Steve Burke and today's Medical Minute from Dr. Alan Abrams.
Now, to get started, we take a look at one of our traveling around destinations from an historical perspective. The year was 1841, the end of the First Opium War between Great Britain and China. Now, as a war prize, the British took possession of a small granite island known as Hong Kong. This action changed the face of a barren, rocky island into a cosmopolitan city. And of course, the same action took place earlier this month to return the city back to China.
And in addition, in 1898, Britain made more demands on China, acquiring a lease for 99 years of what became known as the New Territories, which included 235 outlying islands north of Kowloon. Over the years, Hong Kong went on to become an avenue for commerce, growing into a hub for burgeoning trade between Europe and Asia. Our first look at Hong Kong shows us how traditional mores and contemporary ideology create a unique balance.
The name Hong Kong means fragrant harbor. Interestingly, Hong Kong actually refers to a small village on the southwest coast of the island where European traders stopped for fresh water. The Westerners mistook the village name for the name of the entire island. Today, there's no mistaking Hong Kong Island. Its gigantic modern tower blocks straggle all along the northern shoreline. Striking residential buildings cling to the mountainsides. Bamboo scaffoldings frame the latest in a growing procession of skyscrapers reaching towards the heavens, with each new building momentarily laying claim to being the tallest and biggest. Looking closely, one finds the island to be a potpourri of contradictions. Vestiges of Chinese culture pose with relics of the British Empire. 100-year-old trams roll past the latest European luxury cars. Tranquil parks and gardens snuggle next to testaments of modern progress. And concrete canyons give way to awe-inspiring panoramic views. Equally busy with activity, yet somehow providing needed tranquility, is the harbour, with Hong Kong and Kowloon pressing in on both sides. Kowloon takes its name from the mountains that form Victoria Harbour's dramatic northern backdrop, Kowloon, or Nine Dragons. These 9 dragons gaze watchful over Kowloon, where there is a hum of activity, the haggling over prices in street markets, the mesmerizing flicker of TV screens in shop windows, the smell of fresh-baked Chinese pastries, and bubbling cauldrons of rice congee at roadside Dai Pai Dongs. There's a rush to the senses from every direction. Just north of the endless bustle of Kowloon are the New Territories. Covering 740 square kilometers, it is a rich tapestry of natural beauty. Also known as the Land Between, this is the countryside that separates Kowloon from China. Progress is rapidly transforming the hills and mountains of the New Territories. Duck farms and vegetable fields give way to massive new towns that sprout everywhere. But this is also the land of family clans, a place where village elders continue to influence the degree of progress, where traditions centuries old are still observed. The active pace of the modern world takes a needed rest on Hong Kong's 235 outlying islands. Peace and quiet are the watchwords. One need only jump aboard a waiting passenger ferry or small walla walla to be transported to another world. Enclaves of old fishing villages, traditional farming hamlets, ancient temples and Buddhist monasteries lie cradled in the sandy arms of rolling beaches and lush embrace of green thatched hills.
Well, Time for Living continues. We'll talk with a travel professional from Grand Circle Travel, the largest direct marketer for Americans 50 and over. Find out what you need to know before you pack your bags. Stay with us.
Attention mature travelers. Grand Circle Travel invites you to discover the world in a whole new way. When you call for your copy of the world's best travel values, absolutely free. Inside, you'll discover a completely new way to travel that's planned and paced exclusively for mature travelers. At last, discover the joy of meeting local people in the places you visit and learn about their unique culture and customs and experience their greatest art and architecture. From a picnic in the Swiss Alps to the spice markets of Istanbul, Grand Circle Travel invites you to discover the world in a whole new way. Call for your free copy of the world's best travel values today. To receive complete details on how you can discover the world in a whole new way with Grand Circle Travel, including your free copy of the world's best travel values, call toll-free 1-800-966-2768. That's 1-800-966-2768. Call today.
Welcome back to Time for Living. Today we're talking about vacations and travel around the world, and our lead story focused on Hong Kong and its mixture of traditional values with contemporary ideology, as well as its most recent transition from British rule back to China. Later in the show, in today's Traveling Around destination, we'll see what Hong Kong has to offer tourists who are intrigued by this complex but beautiful island. But right now, we turn to Katherine Walsh, a travel industry expert and Senior Vice President of Product Development at Grand Circle Travel, whose expertise includes developing and directing tours in Switzerland, Greece, Monte Carlo, and South America. Welcome to Time for Living.
Thanks.
That was an interesting piece about Hong Kong, and we've been seeing so much about Hong Kong in the news lately. Is that because of all of this attention? Are people interested in traveling to Hong Kong now?
Absolutely. It's very historical what's happening there right now. Times are really changing, and people want to see Hong Kong both before the Chinese rule came back and after. And we have a wonderful trip to the Yangtze River region where there's also a lot of change going on, so that includes Hong Kong and the Yangtze River. The Yangtze River, there is a huge dam project that's going on there, and eventually the dam will be released and the valley will flood, and so people want to see the valley before this actually takes place. So there's a number of reasons for people wanting to go to China.
Yeah, Hong Kong's always been sort of a place of mystery, of intrigue, of romance from its very beginnings, and so for people, say, if my generation, what is there for us to do there? What would you recommend that we see in a place like Hong Kong? Well,
certainly there's sightseeing and looking just around. Don't forget the shopping now. You forgot about the shopping. The shopping is great. This historical value, how it's developing. It's a really beautiful region and a harbor town. I think everyone saw that on television with all the activities going on there. It's a beautiful, beautiful city.
Yeah, I noticed, however, you mentioned the shopping. The last couple of years, both Hong Kong and Singapore have seen a very sharp decline in tourist dollars being spent on shopping. I mean, it's become quite a problem there, I gather.
Well, it could be, too, that competition and where the dollar is strong and how other cities around the world are becoming more competitive. So people make choices about where they want to spend their vacation dollars and where they want to shop as well.
I gather that places like Kuala Lumpur and Jakarta, those places are much less expensive for shopping than Hong Kong, Thailand.
Yes.
So we're broadening our interest in Asia then.
Absolutely. Really. We've only just touched on Asia.
So Hong Kong, I as a boy in the Navy spent a few days in Hong Kong, and I'm looking at these pictures now, and it doesn't look anything like the Hong Kong that I remember. Tall buildings, very cosmopolitan. It almost has a feeling of a large Western city, and I'm wondering, does that diminish that sort of intrigue, that sort of romance? I mean, do you feel like you're just in another big city when you go somewhere like that?
Well, I don't think it's just another city. I mean, Hong Kong will always be a very special city. I think that it's something that people need to go and see, and yes, of course, it's changing, and it's not the way it might once have been, but it still has a lot of attraction, and it's an entry point to Asia, so there are lots of other areas in Asia to go to.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much, we're seeing a lot of political changes in Hong Kong, especially. What impact does this political change have on tourism? Does it make people less willing, a little more reluctant to go there? Are they unsure, or doesn't it seem to matter?
Well, there's some of that. I think it piques their interest prior to, and then people wait to see what will be happening there. I think that's also one of the advantages of cruising. That's that safety element that some people may have some concerns, and so cruise ships give people the ability to go in and touch on many destinations without actually having to worry about where they're staying or the safety of the region as much as when you're staying in hotels.
All right, I'm on a cruise ship. We pull into Hong Kong Harbor. Tell me what happens to me.
What happens to you? You're swept away. Well, first you enter that port, and that's the most incredible part sometimes. It's just the way when you enter a city on a cruise ship, that is really phenomenal. The different ports, I think of Istanbul and Hong Kong also is another beautiful city. As you go in, it's spectacular. And then you are free to either get off on your own or to go on a tour that's being offered by the cruise line, or sometimes a company like Grand Circle offers their own different things that are going on. So we may have a lecturer come on board, or different.
Now, are there any particular things I should do to prepare for this? Do I have to have any special things with me, or
Well, I go back right to the beginning, and that's shopping for the best deal and finding the best vehicle, and then reading up on the destination. And also, well, I know Grand Circle sends out preliminary information and tells all about the destination and what you need to bring, and maybe you might need a small overnight bag versus your big suitcases, depending on the pace of the trip, and what you need for your medical supplies and all those.
Where else are people traveling on cruise ships? I mean, I see ads for Alaska, going down the Volga and Don rivers, bicycle barge trips on the Thames.
Anywhere there's water, I think people are cruising, and it's really wonderful. There's a lot of opportunity. Alaska is still a wonderful destination. I've been fortunate enough to be there a few times, and there's nothing quite like Alaska, and it's the United States. It's wonderful. There's still the rivers of Europe are very popular right now. The Rhine, the Main, the Danube, the Russian waterway is a great program for Grand Circle. Our passengers really love that destination. Good value. We're really pleased with the way people are receiving the river cruises, and we've invested quite a bit ourselves in developing relationships with ships and developing the product itself, and making sure that we're really adding a lot of value and a lot of little added things along the way.
Also, traveling by train in Europe is fascinating too. I know that they've done the Paris to Istanbul Orient Express, recreated that. What are some of the advantages of train travel, and and pluses and minuses of train travel as opposed to cruising?
Well, I think people like different modes of transportation as they're traveling, and when you can do a combination of all of that, I think it puts together some of the best. That's also why Alaska is so well received, I think, because there is a train segment in there, especially when you're doing the land portion of an Alaska cruise. So you get the ship, you see the waterways, you see the glaciers, and then you get to the land portion where between Fairbanks, Denali, and Anchorage, there are train segments on the rail, and of course Europe is famous for trains much more so than the U.S.
Well, give me a sense of what a train is like in Europe, traveling on a train with a stateroom and dining, etc.
Well, it depends on what part of Europe you're in. I recently just took a trip to Eastern Europe and took a train from Warsaw to Krakow, and that was a wonderful experience. You really get to meet people, the people who are traveling like you, as well as people who are using it for means of transportation to get from one place to another. And then along the way, you get to see how people are living. It's a little bit, throws me back to the river cruises, how you get to see how people live on the river. You get to see how people live on the side of the road of the trains, and you really get to see life in Europe.
What's the range of accommodation on these trains?
Tourist class, second class, first class.
What's first class like?
First class is the best. First class is very, very comfortable. Very comfortable. Very nice.
What's a stateroom like? What are they? Are they old-fashioned? Are they modern? Or is there a mix?
I think they seem old world to me. That's my opinion of velvet-covered chairs and kind of cushiony and plush, and That's the first class cabins, and then the others are a little bit less, but all very functional and very fine, no problem.
I would say probably preparation for a trip will enhance the enjoyment of that trip. And I'm wondering what you would suggest to people. What are the first 5 or 6 things they should think about when beginning to plan on a trip? How should one prepare?
I think we'd look at the weather and how many times the weather's going to change. And I guess from my own experience, I'd say don't take too much. You don't need a lot. And I think the clothing of the different destinations, your shoes, really important to bring comfortable shoes. You really know that you're going to be walking and you don't want to be uncomfortable around that. Not to your medical supplies and what you personally need. You should never go too far from home without that. That can cause problems. I think those are the key things. Currency, get where you change your money. And
that's usually a confusing thing for people, isn't it? When they start dealing with another currency and trying to translate into dollars, and they can't figure out whether the thing they're purchasing is a good buy or not. Is there any little mental trick that one can do to get used to a new currency?
I think, I know what I do. I create a little check sheet for myself, and I convert in $10 increments so that I can see what that is, so that I can use it. So that's what works for me, because it's difficult for everyone until you really get used to the exchange rate.
When you develop a tour, do you look for any particular contiguous group, or are these people just coming in off the street, or do you try to find a uniformity of people?
Well, what our clients have in common is that they are all retired and over 65 years of age, or just a little bit under, and on the average are around 71 years old. So we have many people traveling in their 80s and many people traveling in their 60s. The average is around 70. And sure, these people have a lot in common. They've lived through the same time period. They've seen the same events in the world. Their children are grown. Potentially they have grandchildren. They've seen a lot of change. They've worked.
Now, do you think that there are special needs of that age group that perhaps a middle-aged tour group?
Absolutely. There are special needs. What we call pacing, I think, is very important, that we don't rush people through one-night destinations, especially when it's a land program. When you say cruising and going into a different port every day, that's not a problem. But when you have to pack up every night and get on another coach or on a plane or a train, we really need to be sure that it's about 2-3 nights in each destination. And that may our struggle is to keep the value there, but we need a slower pace, and then people feel fresh and ready to go every day.
Katherine, thank you very much. That's great advice.
Thank you.
Okay, when we come back, meet a woman in her 80s who continues to affect children even after retiring as an educator. Our second effort salute is next. Welcome back to Time for Living. It's time now for our second effort salute, where we introduce you to people who continue to achieve personal goals or help others even after they've retired.
So, what do you do when you're more than 80 years old, been an educator for over 3 decades, and raised 8 children? Retire, right? Wrong. Not Hazel Sorrell. Hazel has something else in mind, something else to help even more children, and that's why Hazel Sorrell deserves today's second effort salute. Jim Harriet has more.
When Hazel Sorrell retired from the school system in Benson, North Carolina, and her 8 children left home, she was left with an empty house and a vision to turn it into a home for abused and neglected children.
First actual impression was that it was a great dream, and it was going to be hard to be reality.
But Hazel is turning her vision into reality.
I think he will do that.
Hazel is getting support from the community, like this donated van and food contributions.
We do need funds because we have not had any grants. We've not had anything except what the Lord has laid on people's hearts to give us.
And her family is behind her 100%.
Nana wants to be able to connect with the children in such a way that she can influence their lives to be able to contribute in a positive way to the community or the society. I think that, as much as anything, is what this is all about.
This is going to be the recreation center. We have a little bathroom over here in the hall.
Hazel's energy seems boundless, with future plans to offer parenting classes and another home for seniors.
You have to be tired before you can be retired, and I'm not tired. I keep going. They laugh at me about how much I keep going, but I enjoy being busy.
I'm Jim Harriet, reporting.
That's a great line. You have to be tired to be retired.
And what a thoughtful idea to fill up our house with children who need a safe and loving home.
Now, if you have somebody you think deserves a second effort salute, then let us know about them. You can write to us here at Time for Living, care of Second Effort Salute, P.O. Box 8452, Boston, Massachusetts 02114.
Or you can fax us at 617-329-1774 or call our voicemail and leave the information. Our voicemail phone number is 800-232-7213. When Time for Living continues, a different look at Hong Kong. This time, what it has to offer if you're a tourist, from theaters to restaurants. Hong Kong has it all, so stay with us.
Welcome back to Time for Living. We've been talking about travel and vacationing on today's show, and now it's time for our weekly Traveling Around segment where we visit destinations around the world.
As you saw earlier in the show, Hong Kong is quite a diverse place when it comes to its history and architecture. But what we didn't show you is what every tourist wants to know. What does it have to offer when it comes to shopping, to eating, entertainment? The answer is in today's Traveling Around destination.
Hong Kong was conceived as a place of commerce, a place where the West could trade with the East. It indulged in the business of business. As such, it certainly offers some of the best shopping in the world. From the latest Paris and New York styles to Asian antiques, handicrafts, and exquisite jewelry, Hong Kong satisfies just about every shopping urge. This unbeatable catalogue of goods is showcased in the slick splendour of the world's finest fashion boutiques, vast malls brimming with shops, and alleyway markets where bargaining is king. While upholding its status as a shopping mecca, Hong Kong has quietly built up its reputation in the performing arts. There's a profusion of venues with a blaze of cross-cultural activities. Shakespeare is performed in Cantonese. Orchestras perform classic Chinese melodies. And celebrated international artists regularly appear in the territory. Hong Kong's appreciation of the performing arts is matched by an ardent pursuit of culinary delights. The territory has a passion for food like no other place. Hong Kong people eat almost anything, all of which is prepared in a myriad ways. This explains the record number of restaurants scattered throughout the territory. More than 30,000. With so many temptations, it's not surprising that few people are more expert on dining than the Hong Kong Chinese. Yet this is just the tip of Hong Kong's vibrant nightlife. In true Hong Kong style, the territory has moulded and absorbed the best entertainment on offer from the East and West. There's nothing like popcorn in a movie, and while Hollywood films may dominate worldwide, the vast majority of Hong Kong's silver screens flicker with exciting locally produced fare. The blend of Western influences combined with Chinese flavors extends to almost everything. Bars, karaoke, live entertainment, even night markets.
Absolutely awesome. Awesome.
Beautiful.
It's going to be interesting, though, to see what impact China has on Hong Kong in the years ahead.
Well, hopefully it'll continue to flourish as it pretty much has in the past.
Absolutely. Now, if you'd like more information about Hong Kong or other travel destinations seen on Time for Living, then you can call Grand Circle Travel at 1-800-966-2802, extension 106. Again, that's 1-800-966-2802, extension 106. And when Time for Living continues, questions to ask regarding your financial situation. Health, finance, and more is next.
Traveling Around is brought to you by Grand Circle Travel. Attention mature travelers. Grand Circle Travel invites you to discover the world in a whole new way. When you call for your copy of the world's best travel values, absolutely free. Inside, you'll discover a completely new way to travel that's planned and paced exclusively for mature travelers. At last, discover the joy of meeting local people in the places you visit, and learn about their unique culture and customs, and experience their greatest art and architecture. From a picnic in the Swiss Alps to the spice markets of Istanbul, Grand Circle Travel invites you to discover the world in a whole new way. Call for your free copy of the world's best travel values today. To receive complete details on how you can discover the world in a whole new way with Grand Circle Travel, including your free copy of the world's best travel values, call toll-free 1-800-966-2768. That's 1-800-966-2768. Call today.
Some of you have heard our financial expert Steve Burke repeatedly say, when talking about financial matters, remember to ask lots of questions. Of course, there are lots of questions you may ask in many areas which prompt questions. So today, we thought it would be helpful to present some questions which people, retired or about to retire, should have answers for.
While you may not find all the answers apply to your financial situation, it's good to know they exist, and in future years they may be of value to you, to family members, or even friends. The following are questions about your own situation or a thought to pursue with your financial advisor.
This material is not meant to be an in-depth analysis, but rather thought-provoking. Put another way, this approach should prompt you to say to yourself, I should look into that idea or product, or maybe I should use that strategy. So let's look at some of the questions which could impact your retirement or approaching retirement. We'll touch on professional help. Where do I find professional help which will make my later years comfortable and secure? Happily, there is a lot of help out there. The important point to keep in mind is that it can come in many forms, and you're the one to make that judgment. For example, attorneys are very important parts of retirement planning because they are the proper person to deal with trusts, wills, and in many cases, taxes. In addition to lawyers, you might want to consult a financial planner who is trained to help you in accumulating money for retirement and can also assist you in properly managing your assets after you've retired. Your insurance agent and stockbroker, if you have them, can provide ideas and information about products geared to retirement years. Not last, and certainly not least, are accountants who are knowledgeable about taxes and the legal avoidance of same. In many cases, it can be to your advantage to develop a team of these people so that you have a solid idea of what these various professionals are going to charge you for their services. If you ask about costs and get vague answers, stop and consider whether this is going to be a good relationship for you and your family. Strategies are methods of accomplishing your goals, but be aware that change is part of almost every strategy, and so it's important that you realize this needs regular attention and adjustment. Consider these simple examples of this. First, a private annuity. This procedure allows you to establish income for yourself and your spouse if appropriate, while at the same time it can reduce estate taxes by removing an asset from your estate. Not bad strategy. Lifetime income and reduced taxes. Another way to reduce taxes lies in the area of trusts, or perhaps a gift-giving program. Example, should you have an asset which provides no income, such as a piece of land, and you expect to pass it on to family members, do it now. Out of your estate means no estate taxes. As for trust, there are many forms of trust which speak to a variety of strategies. Finally, a fun strategy. It needs some effort on your part, but it provides less expensive way to travel, either because it's just plain inexpensive. Two groups to research are Earthwatch and/or Senior Hostel. It's a way to keep costs down while visiting interesting places. Finally, products. Is there a financial product which will guarantee I will always have income? Yes. An annuity with lifetime benefits. Check with your advisor or insurance agent to see what's available. There are many annuities out there. Make sure the one you purchase does what you want. Can I reduce taxes on a reasonably predictable basis? Answer, yes. A product known as a tax credit may well be just the answer for reducing taxes now and in the future. It's legal and proper, but you need to understand the pros and cons. In the area of nursing home care, how do I prevent erosion of my assets caused by nursing home expenses? Consider long-term care insurance, which presents many options to combat the ever-increasing cost of nursing home and care at home. Finally, is there any way I can invest for retirement beyond IRAs and other forms of pension plans which avoid taxes until retirement? Certainly. The answer is annuities, but in this example I suggest you consider an index annuity or a variable annuity, because there are many kinds of this financial area out there approach available. Research the merits of this way of accumulating money very carefully to make sure it will respond to your needs. That's about all the time we have for now. It's probably apparent to you at this point that there are a lot of good approaches available to you. That's true. The help is there, and strategies are numerous. In addition, there's a vast array of products which can be tailored to your needs. The financial professionals are very willing to answer your concerns and provide you with assistance. So take your time, believe in your common sense, and ask lots of questions. I'm Steve Burke. Time for Living.
If you have any financial questions about topics you've seen on Health Finance and more, you can write to us at Time for Living, care of Health Finance and More, P.O. Box 8452, Boston, Massachusetts, 02114.
Or you can fax us at 617-329-1774 or call our voicemail and ask your questions. Our voicemail phone number is 800-232-7213.
When we come back, find out what's being done to decrease cases of diabetes. Preventative measures when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Time for Living. More than 16 million Americans have diabetes, and half of them don't even know it.
Now, the American Diabetes Association is working on changing those numbers, and Mary Norton tells us how.
There is an explosion of diabetes in this country. Over 16 million people affected, and the number is rising. Health experts say we must start diagnosing this potentially deadly disease in its earlier stages.
We are really trying to get people to adopt a different mindset, that just because it doesn't hurt doesn't mean it isn't hurting you.
Too often, people have diabetes for years before it's diagnosed. New recommendations from a panel of health experts call for measures that will identify more people who have diabetes.
These new screening guidelines from the American Diabetes Association will go a long way in helping to pick up more people in their 40s and 50s.
The recommendations call for testing all adults age 45 and over for diabetes, and if they test normally, every 3 years after that. Health experts say this is the key to early detection.
The good news is that we can prevent all of the complications if we are aggressive enough and we act early enough in using the treatments that we have.
With these new recommendations, health experts say they hope to catch 2 million of the 8 million undiagnosed cases of this silent killer. I'm Mary Norton reporting.
Risk factors for diabetes include age, obesity, little or no exercise, and a family history of the disease.
Another health issue is the focus of today's Medical Minute. Many older adults began smoking cigarettes when they were several years younger, some even in childhood. Well, now that they've reached their 70s or beyond and hear all the hoopla about keeping children from starting to smoke, they may think that stopping themselves is irrelevant in their lives, feeling they already have beaten the odds.
Not necessarily. Data from the early 1990s estimates that 17% of men and 13% of women over the age of 65 continue to smoke. Translation, approximately 4.5 million Americans. And by the time someone has reached their 8th decade of life, male smokers have averaged 18 to 20 cigarettes a day for about 50 plus years, and women 15 to 20 cigarettes for about 45 to 50 years. So what's the point of stopping now? Well, Dr. Alan Abrams tells us in today's Medical Minute.
As far back as 1976, it was known that smoking cigarettes increased the risk of dying by 50% in people over the age of 70. Since then, many studies have verified the fact that continued smoking in the later years increases the risk of death from a variety of causes, including cancer of the lung, esophagus, lip, oral cavity and throat, pancreas, kidney, and bladder. It also increases the likelihood of dying from emphysema, heart attack, and stroke. But what's in it for older people who might be interested in smoking cessation after a lifetime of smoking? First, lung function can be improved, or the rate of decline slowed for people with or without established emphysema upon the cessation of smoking. Second, there is a common experience of decrease in symptoms, improvements in shortness of breath, coughing, wheezing, and phlegm production when people over 65 decide to quit. Third, former smokers within a few years of quitting experience lower rates of pneumonia and flu-related events, including hospitalizations and deaths. Fourth, smoking cessation decreases the rate of the development of osteoporosis, which leads to hip fracture and disability. Fifth, when you stop smoking, you decrease your chance of developing cancer, all of the types mentioned before. Sixth, your enjoyment of food improves as your taste buds recover. Seventh, smoking cessation markedly reduces your chance of a heart attack or stroke. This benefit begins within the first year you quit. While continued smoking is associated with an increased risk of loss of mobility and poorer physical functioning, former smokers are found to have higher qualities of life than those that continue in their later years. What's in it for you is a longer, healthier, more energetic life. Ask your doctor what programs are available to help you stop now, no matter how long you have been smoking and no matter what age you are. I wonder if you knew how much good it can do to stop even in your later years. This is Dr. Alan Abrams with your Medical Minute.
If you have any health questions about topics you've seen on Dr. Alan Abrams' Medical Minute, you can write to us at Time for Living, care of Medical Minute, P.O. Box 8452, Boston, Massachusetts, 02114.
Or you can fax us at 617-329-1774 or call our voicemail and leave a message. Our voicemail number is 800-232-7213.
When Time for Living continues, phone numbers you've requested from our past shows. Get your pens and pencils ready. We'll have that information when we come back.
Now, as promised, answers to your requests. For Mary, who watches us on News Channel 8 in Washington, D.C., and many others who saw our show on fashion wear for older Americans, we wanted to give you the number for Maturity Matters so you can call for their catalog. That number is 617-876-2829. And you can get in touch with Dana Atherton for more information on those special clothing lines.
For Georgia, watching us on Pittsburgh Cable News Channel, we wanted to give you the name of the Spice Queen and how you can get her catalog on spices that we featured a short time ago. The company is Vans Spices Limited, and the phone number is 410-583-1643. Again, it's 410-583-1643. And Sam in Kensington, Connecticut, who watches us on New England Cable News, the number for Secure Horizons is 800-714-3000. That's 800-714-3000.
We thank all of you for watching Time for Living, and we hope you get the information you need. And before we say goodbye, we'd like to give you our address and phone numbers one more time. Write to Time for Living, P.O. Box 8452, Boston, Massachusetts, 02114.
Or you can call us on our voicemail number at 1-800-232-7213 or fax us at 617-329-1774. Remember, this show is not only for you, it is about you. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's show, and we look forward to seeing you again next week, and we certainly will have more interesting people and places to introduce you to.
We'll see you next week. Until then, remember,
it's time for living.
Take care.
Bye now.